And good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, and welcome to this morning's Different Perspective. I am always so excited you guys are joining me here live a Saturday morning from all over the world, from Australia. And no joke, this morning what I did before I was getting ready, I was answering some emails, and I think it was Bardon, Australia. It's kind of cool. I didn't even know where it was from. I typed in the name. I think it's Bardon. Yes, woman suffering with PCOS. So thank you for sending email. As you see, I got back to you. You guys are much different time zone than we are, but I will always respond to the emails. And once again, before we get started, let's say this: if you do have a very important question regarding your health care, you can send it to me as long as you're not seeing one of my docs at pflynn@thewellnessway.com. pflynn@thewellnessway.com. P being initial my first name, Flynn my last name, and at thewellnessway.com, and I will always try to get back to you. If not, I don't. Either Dr. Bryce or Dr. Lucas or one of my other doctors will do that, because we get so many emails, so many messages. But I will tell you honestly, I try to answer as many as I possibly can on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, so you guys know that we are live right now. So we're very excited for you guys to be interacting with our crowd. But before we get started with the whole show, we want to talk about and just reflect one more time, as we'll teach you every single week. Next year, we have our Leadership Longevity Seminar on May 2nd and 3rd. So what you can do now is you can go right there. We are going to, tickets will go on sale September. They're going to stay very cheap all the way to the end of the year. They'll be $50, they'll be $199 online. But you can see we already have one person scheduled. We're very close to having two people scheduled for the seminar. And what we're going to have is, it's our wonderful Leadership Longevity Conference. We have about 3 longevity speakers and about 4 leadership speakers. And what it does, it actually helps us not only develop the community of people that want to be wonderful leaders and actually take control of their health, live as long and healthy and vitally as possible, because you'd be surprised the statistics that come up. The last 14 years, people lose not only energy, function, mobility, but also their wealth. You'd be surprised, because now they have poor planning because no one's ever taught them. But the health conditions that they suffer with pretty much drain them financially. So we're trying to teach people wonderful leadership skills to set themselves up personally and professionally and business-wise. On the flip side, taking care of themselves. So the last 14 years of those golden years are fantastic, because the vast majority of people they are alive, but they're not living. So please do me a favor, look at that. I'll always be talking about it till September, and those tickets go on sale. What I said, we went from selling a crowd of 700 to will be over 1,000 this year by expanding in the hotel conference area, but we will sell out. I even have a big prediction that by the end of the year, we'll probably have 3/4, if not the vast majority of tickets sold for the seminar, and then it'll only be online tickets left after that, which is a wonderful way. You can watch it in the comfort of your home. But if you've ever been to one of my seminars and you saw Chris Godey from John Maxwell's team, the energy is high, the music is pumping, there's gifts going everywhere, we are tossing things out. It's kind of cool. We have our bleacher reacher, Travis, there shooting socks and t-shirts and things out. It's quite an exciting time. But speaking of exciting, I will tell you this. As you guys know, I have 4 wonderful journalists. We have our head journalist, Erin. Obviously, she has many roles, but I always call her head journalist because it's probably the things that we talk about the most when it comes to the company here. And we put out 2 amazing books that were international bestsellers, still selling a ton all over the world. So we had the I Disagree book, and then we had the I Still Disagree book. But I will tell you, I am even more excited about this book coming out on August 17th. My beautiful bride and my best friend's wife, Dr. Alex Fenley, so Dr. Alex Sampson, but Dr. Alex, they put so much time and effort into this book. I had nothing to do with it, zero. We just have the amazing team. I can honestly tell you, including Aaron, including Amy, including Deanna, including all the people that to put a book out, especially at this caliber, it takes hundreds and hundreds of hours by so many people and their expertise. And I can honestly tell you, there was a time where Aaron, and Christy were here at the office until late at night. I think at 11 o'clock they finally left, just trying to get this wonderful book put together. But it's on print, so you can do the pre-orders, as you can see right here, from scratch, Restoring Health with Whole Foods, The Wellness Way. It's going to be, I won't even say I guess, but it'll be the #1 best-selling book we ever had. And the first 2 books were absolutely incredible. I just think that the practicality and what people want in foods and everything like that, I think this is going to blow everything away. So once again, we are going to have a live party. I think after 4th of July, we'll have, because Dr. Bryce will be teaching on the 6th of July, I'll be teaching back on the 13th, and I should have a QR code And speaking of that, I'm going to come over to the girls here in a second here, but we are going to probably have a QR code where you can come join us and have the August 17th celebration here. We're going to do ADP a little later like we did on our book launch, but then we're going to be able to push this out and have a wonderful celebration here. But speaking of that, about wonderful celebrations, we give away $1,000 of product every single week, if not more, depending on how generous I'm feeling, plus an Academy Scholarship, which is over $12,000. So we're giving on the average of $13,000 to $15,000 a week based on what we're going through that week and what we're giving away and stuff. So it's quite crazy. But as always, we have a little difference. We have three wonderful ladies over to my left. We have Erin Walton, once again. I speak a lot about her. You have my beautiful bride. But in the middle, the future, the heir to the throne. She just finished third quarter of Life Chiropractic School. She's in chiropractic school right now. She's following in her daddy's footsteps. But we're going to turn over to them. We got our giveaways. So what do we got today? They're wonderful ladies.
Good morning, everyone. And as always, we love building community. So interact with us, comment, share, talk with everyone in the chat. That is how you win. And once you win, well, actually, the platforms. What platforms are we on? We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram, ADP, the ADP website, X, LinkedIn, and what do we do, Faith? You know, this young lady, she made me a mommy. So this is really exciting having her sitting right next to me.
I'm so excited to be here this morning. Okay.
So what do they do if they win?
Okay, so how to win. You're going to email giveaways@thewellnessway.com, and in that you're going to put your full name, your handle or your screen name, and then your address.
Yeah. So
what are we giving away today?
Yeah.
We're giving away blood sugar glandular.
Ooh,
yes,
that's a good one.
Absolutely. So that one's coming up. Stay tuned for the end of the show when we announce our winners. We also have our Academy winner, though.
Oh.
Our Academy Scholarship winner goes to Tanya Kieswetter. So I hope I said your last name right there, Tanya. Tanya Kieswetter, welcome to the Wellness Way Academy. We're so excited for you to join us.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Erin, for announcing our wonderful Academy winner. If you guys want to know what the Academy is, just go to thewellnesswayacademy.com and you can see the amazing schooling that we put out for people to learn this stuff and actually be able to apply it to other people's lives that way. And that's where you can become a health restoration coach to do wonderful things with people all over the world. So check that out. Speaking of Erin, every week, and just like I did this morning, Friday night, you get to see our beautiful newsletter. So what you can do is you can go to our website, scroll all the way down to the bottom, put your email address in there. Very happy that we are not ever solicit you, ever try to sell you anything. So one thing I have to tell you I'm extremely proud about is how we do everything here. And you can get the newsletter. I read it every single week. I really do. Not only the fact that our investigative journalists sit there and interview me. We go once a week. We go through all the topics, what they're going to be putting out, things like that. They come out, they investigate. They show me all the journals they pulled out and stuff like that. I read a bunch of them. I send them journals. It's a quite detailed process. We meet every Wednesday at 9 o'clock to go through this. But then we also have our behind-the-scenes newsletter. It goes to our TW Plus members. But these things come out every single week. Great things, wonderful by investigative journalists. But as you guys know, the thing I'm more excited about is actually the website. Go to the top right, click on Find a Clinic. You will see all those wonderful things that keep going up there. And once again, as we welcomed Estes Park, we also have we now have an office in the Philadelphia area with Dr. Zach. Definitely go check out, and no joke, this is an old video, so there's a lot more dots up there than actually you're seeing even right now, which is exciting. But you can find all of our wonderful people that practice there in all our offices as they continue to get more and more and more. All right, speaking of that, as we continue our series on proteins, women's health and everything, just remember, let's reiterate, there's 4 challenges. We got the one that's gonna be starting after next weekend. After this weekend, we have the no sugar one in January. We have the one detox in April. The one that starts next week, protein, July. Excited. Then we're gonna have our sleep one. You can see the QR code, the challenge page. All this is free. You have information on there for free. You have the handles for free. We'll be talking to each other a day. We'll probably go live, if not every day, if not sometimes a couple times a day. It's exciting, but you gotta remember, we have our Power of Protein Challenge. You're going to find out that what we're going to do is I believe that people do not eat enough protein. And so we create a protein calculator based on the ideal body weight that you want to maintain. Once again, it's based on just some scientific literature of how we came up with it that way, some of the parameters, if you're active, if you're highly active, if you're medium or low active that way, and it allows us to build our plate. Now you remember, proteins. I had a woman, no joke, this morning, message me, say, Doc, what about plant-based proteins? I said, well, here they are. You can actually do these. They're on the Facebook page. And I talked her through it, said, listen, instead of having a meat on your plate, you can have a protein-based protein. But then I asked people to put their cruciferous and their fiber around, but don't forget your fruit, especially the ones that have the high phytochemicals with polyphenols and flavonoids and everything that we want. I do love our raspberries, our blackberries, our blueberries, our kiwis, our strawberries, things that do have significant amount of fiber. That's why the fruits that I pick are usually more high fiber. I'm not saying that all fruits aren't good for you. I'm saying that most fruits have some wonderful things, and most people don't eat enough fruit, to tell you the truth. People lack on fruit and vegetables, they really do. That's why it's kind of funny when people say, well, Doc, I don't eat meat. You're going to find out they still lack in fruits and vegetables. They really do. It's kind of crazy. And so I'm trying to encourage people to have wonderful fruits and vegetables. And once again, over the course of time, if you do have these, the benefits are massive on the phytochemistry that you do have. For example, that person that sent me from Australia the blood work that had PCOS, I can honestly tell you I should have put it to the lab. I legitimately should have put it up the lab. I would have never, once again, the name will stay private, but she was massively deficient in their 1A1 pathway. So therefore, for food-wise, I want her to eat a ton of cruciferous. I want her to take DIM, AKI, and also IC3, because her lab showed me that, once again, she could be doing things, and of course, obviously I told her to stay away from sugar as much as possible due to the fact they did put her on a metformin. But that being said, is when you look at these things, just by having these deficiencies, that's why people say, Doc, you do talk a lot about animal-based proteins, but I also talk significantly about cruciferous and other things that we need, including fruits and the phytochemistry we do get from it, because it's so vitally important. So yes, do animal-based products give you such massive benefits? Yes. But you're going to find out, when I looked at the lab, I wasn't thinking meat, I was actually thinking cruciferous. So labs do a wonderful job of helping us dictate what can be done and to support those hormonal conversions, because this woman has suffered massively. Now think of this, guys. Think about this. She's in Australia, and she's reaching out to me in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Kind of sad if you think about it. I mean, think about it this way. It's kind of sad that she had to probably find me on social media, watch my material, make sense, get 0 clinical results with all the doctors she's seen, and then reach out to me, thousands of miles in many different time zones away. I find that very saddening for the perspective that people have to get through. So that being said, we have a wonderful thing we're going to be talking about today, that C word we're going to get to in a minute, that is very devastating, very disrupting to women of today, because they're the ones that suffer the most from that way. So Travis, let's get into our perspective. All right, so what is that dreaded C word that women so hate to see and hear? And here it is. It's called cellulite. Okay, most people think it's cancer. Nope, cellulite. It's the dreaded thing that we notice, especially when we are looking to get into your swimsuit season. I kid you not, you have to notice that a lot of women come and say, Doc, how do I lose weight quickly? There's no such thing. How do I get rid of my cellulite quickly? There's no such way. Everything that you want to accomplish in weight loss takes time. If you effectively think of honestly dropping in weight, you got to judge about 1 pound to 1.5 pounds per week. And that's why people give up, because to drop really 10 pounds of true fat, it's going to take 10 weeks to 12 weeks. And that is really frustrating for people. And that's being very good in your calorie restriction, having enough protein, doing things, but over time you can accomplish this. But cellulite is very common. About 90% of the women in the post-pubescent area deal with some cellulite. That means 90% of women that have hit their cycle or later deal with some cellulite. So we're going to talk about this, something that we're going to discuss and give you some things that you could do and look at a little different perspective and seeing some things. And because there's massive amount of cosmetic things that people do with this, but I'm telling you, a lot of this can be prevented. And if you do have it, there's things that can be done at pretty low cost that way. So if you look on our website, you're going to notice that we have a wonderful article out there And once again, I call it the orange peel skin because that's kind of what it looks like. You can see those little bumps and those extractions. I'll show you where that comes from, knowing from the inside. But you can go to the Wellness Way website, go to our resource. You're going to see it. It's an article that we wrote last year, once again, addressing these issues and everything. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to kind of define cellulite, kind of give you a little bit perspective, because what happens when people think that if cellulite's just fat, that's not really true, okay? Because by nature, fat is going to give you, ladies, a very smooth-looking skin. But what happens that it goes from that beautiful, smooth, silky things that guys don't have to the fact that all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're having the orange peel, the kind of like golf ball looking skin that makes women very frustrated, very emotional, and women get downright depressed with it. I was very saddened seeing the statistics about the emotional stress that women get when they start to have a bit of cellulite. So that being said, now before we get started, ladies, let me tell you this, okay? Honestly, there's a difference, once again, as some of the things your body changes and having kids and things like that. And I know that you guys are very self-conscious of your body. You really are. I honestly tell you, being a man, you guys care about it much more than the men care about it. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, guys understand, well, the vast majority of real men understand that if you had a baby, it's kind of difficult on your body. And women go, Doc, I have a stretch mark. Is there something you can do? Well, sometimes there's things that can do. There's sometimes that will permanently stay there. There's sometimes that you can have some cellulite that's not going to go away and stuff like that. No matter what therapies or integrative treatments or even natural things you do that way or even medical things you do, sometimes it's not going to go away. So I know this is a very emotional topic. That's why I tell people it's one of the most dreaded words that people hate to hear is, oh, you have cellulite that way. But I understand. There's a very big emotional component to it. But I would tell you this is, a real man, obviously, if it's excessive, yes, you kind of can change some things. But, you guys are more subconscious, or apologies, more, self-conscious of it than we are and stuff is when it comes to having it. So that being said, let's look at what it is and what are the things that we can possibly do with it. So here we go. Cellulite, current understanding and treatment. So I just pulled up, one of the journals in 2023, just talking about, some of the defining factors and some of the things that are noticing out there and things today. So here we go. Cellulite is an aesthetically distressing skin condition that manifests as dimples or depressions, producing an uneven surface to the skin, occurring in roughly 89% of females, mostly on the thighs, the buttocks, and the hips. It is associated with profound negative psychosocial and quality of life issues, okay? That's multifactorial and complex and not fully understood. There is no effective treatment for cellulite. Now, let me say something right now. Now, when it comes to cellulite, you're going to see that there's going to be multiple factors to contribute. So that's why medicine says there's no effective treatment, because they're looking for one treatment to blanket all things. So if you ever look at it this way, they're always looking for that one pill, that one surgery, that one medication. Well, once again, if you understand, where this is coming from, there's so many different factors, so there can never be an effective treatment because there's nothing that could be directly studied that's going to have a blanket effect on all the causal factors that lead to cellulite. But let's go on. But there are different types of modalities available, from non-invasive to minimally invasive. The efficacy of most treatments is unpredictable, and improvements to cellulite appearance are short-lived, although significant progress has been made with newer treatments. This review provides an update of state of knowledge about cellulite, with the emphasis on patient assessment and individualized treatment approach for optimal results. 100% agree, okay? Because what they're saying is there is no direct treatment, because let's say they have a group of women that have cellulite, and they say, okay, we're going to do this treatment. Well, believe it or not, it's going to fail dramatically in a double-blind, placebo-based trial, because I can show you just by nature that if there's a hormonal component or immune component or a blood sugar component, there's 3 different factors that contribute to that way. Unless that treatment is directly addressing let's say it's an immune treatment and the other person has a hormonal problem, it's going to have 0 effect on the cellulite that a person is going through. So therefore, cellulite has to be individualized. Are there some blanket things that can affect all those? Sure, there is. It's just there is only a couple things. I'm going to cover one I believe that is probably a blanket to a lot of things that are going on with this. But even that isn't 100% effective, but they do have some similarities that can be addressed. All right, let's continue. Okay, cellulite is a dermatological condition that predominantly affects, postpubertal females. Okay, just gotta have a cycle or later. It is characterized as a topographical change of the skin, especially in areas of greater fat storage. That's why it's around thighs, buttocks, and hips. Clinically, the topographical changes manifest as dimpling, denting, or nodulation, leading to an uneven surface of the skin. The dimpling gives the skin an appearance of a mattress-like, cottage cheese, orange peel, golf ball. Women, I've heard them say them so emotionally and emphatically with that. With the characteristics clinical cellulite. Medically, cellulite is referred to as various types. There is, sorry, I'm not going to read all those, going through those, reflecting some of the perceived pathophysiology of this condition. So therefore, what I want to show you guys is this. The reason why you're going to notice that cellulite is actually different per factors is because, once again, when you look at the differences of fat that women have compared to men, compared to subcutaneous, but also even visceral fat, or also the different layers, women do have a little bit more fat and they have a little bit more area that can do that. And therefore, if it deposits in that subcutaneous levels, now that can change the elasticity. And so therefore, there's a collagen and elastin part that can exist within the skin. So it can be anywhere from an inflammatory thing that can change the collagen or the elastin. It can actually be too much hormonal things where estrogens are off and fat now deposits in subcutaneous too large. And so therefore, there is all the diverse things, and therefore the diversity of the skin changes, and you're going to see there's a tug and there's a pull and there's a looseness, and therefore, guess what? You're going to see these dimpling effect that does happen to the skin. Let me explain. So if we take a look, just to take a little cross section of that person's hinder, okay, as you can see, there is superficial fat that's meant to be there. If you understand and also see there's fascia, there's a little deeper fat, and that's what women do have a little bit more of, and that's what gives you guys your silky, smooth looking skin. And then we have a deeper fascia. Now, if you notice, you can see some connective tissues that do exist when this does happen. And therefore, once again, if there is an added aspect of superficial fat or even deep fat, there's going to be a tugging and a pulling, or vice versa. If there's a loss of collagen or elastin integrity, then guess what? That connective tissue can be loosened and some can be a little stronger, and therefore you're going to see the diversity of the pulling, and therefore you're going to see the dimpling that does come from this. So once again, there can be an inflammatory process that does weaken our collagen. There can be a deficiency that leads to, if you don't have all your amino acids, that leads to a breakdown of collagen. And then once again, you're going to have some of this that's going to pull, some of this is going to loosen up, and that's why you can see those dimples. Vice versa, if all of a sudden you do have a blood sugar issue and now you have to store fat, you store it more in the subcutaneous area, which is here, you're going to actually try to pack in, and there's going to, once again, there's going to be fat that deposits certain areas. For example, a lot of people will see like these large balls of fat that actually jump on their skin, they see them pop out. Well, imagine, of course, it's going to have a dimpling effect because there is fat that was deposited in that area at a large level, which now led to these problems. So I want you to picture this. Picture my skin, and fat goes to certain areas not. And let's say that there's some tightening in some area, it's going to push, and you're going to see some dimpling. Vice versa, let's say that there's a weakening of certain collagen that's there within the fascia, or once again, their skin actually has a problem, collagen actually is lost, elastin's lost, and now a weakened area, and now that one's going to pop up, and then you're going to see a dimple in certain areas. So there's multiple factors. Think this way. There's a chronic inflammatory response, which gets to a immune response. There is a hormonal response, meaning the fact that, once again, if your estrogens are abnormal, then guess what happened? There can be, once again, fat accumulation in certain skin issues. On the flip side, there can just be blood sugar issues, that you just have way too much problems. You have insulin resistance, your calorie consumption is too high, and once the liver starts being overloaded with fat, it's got to go somewhere, so it's going to start depositing into other areas of the body, including the subcutaneous fat. You can see this happen a lot if people have DEXA scans. It's a full body MRI where now you can actually see the thickness of, once again, people's skin and the superficial fat underneath and the deep fat underneath. You can see that. And that's why, once again, you can see that there's changes in those skins that do happen. It's no different than, you look at a stretch mark. A stretch mark is when, once again, it's pulled so quickly and starts to just, stretch the collagen, and because they don't have a repair process, maybe they're too inflamed, maybe there are hormonal problems, and then that ends up into a permanent mark. But there's women that actually have multiple babies. I know a woman had 4 babies, and she has 0 stretch marks. Okay, and she had 4 babies, okay, and she was 110 pounds. It's just that her collagen and her elastin was there, so she bounced back very quickly because we knew what to do, so she doesn't have those issues that way, all right? So as we continue on, you're going to find it very common with hormonal problems with cellulite. That's why if you ever notice, you look at some of the hormonal panels in some of these women, as you can see here, cellulite in menopause. Okay, let's take a look. What does it talk about? Menopause is a physiological process related to the increase in the efficiency of the HPO axis and the pool of ovarian follicles capable of synthesizing female sex hormones become gradually depleted in response to the sequence of endocrine changes of I don't even like saying this word, premenopause or perimenopause. I hate those words. Okay, postmenopausal, systemic, somatic, and emotional disruptions appear. Okay, skin is a target organ of sex hormones. Let me say it again. Skin is a target organ of sex hormones. That's why if you ever notice, okay, when a woman gets pregnant, they'll be like, oh my goodness, she's glowing. Well, she kind of is. The sex hormones get very elevated and they see now a maintenance of that skin tissue. And believe it or not, sometimes they get enough fat tissue put in there that they have a soothness, a silkiness of their skin because sex hormones have a lot to do with it that way. So let's go on, okay? And the appearance of the skin are most significantly affected by the sex hormones, estrogens and progesterone. Now, ladies, look at that paragraph right there, but look at that word, estrogens. I love that they say that. Estrogens. Most research, if not all research, usually says estrogen is never estrogen because there's multiple ones. However, this review has emphasized the influence of other hormones on the skin and subcutaneous tissue. During menopause, a low estrogen concentration is responsible for increased vascular permeability and decreases vascular tone right there. So there's also a vascular part of this that has a big, which leads to microcirculations impairments and are important factors predisposing the development of cellulite. So get this. So you have to understand that if there is changes that do happen in circulation because estrogens get low, there's a microcirculation loss. And you can see that in more evidence in something not cellulite, but go back to, let's say, varicose veins. Once again, where there is venous insufficiency, okay? And just think of it this way, that's a microcirculation loss, and therefore there's damage to the elastin, damage to the collagen of the veins, and therefore you see that happen. So therefore, there is a hormonal component to that. So I'm hoping that we can figure out some things that will actually show women that if they get their estrogen levels back normal and then take some things, help with that repair of being able to stimulate collagen production and elastin production, that you're going to notice these things start to happen, okay? But let's go on. The effects of estrogen deficiencies on the skin connective tissue include decreased production and topical content of both type 1 and type 2 collagen and elastin fibers, which contribute to cellulite. Okay, once again, there you go. Collagen and elastin changes. This paper presents diagnostic methods and clinical types of cellulite, as well as principal instrumentation and manual treatments for the reduction of the condition. Preparation containing ingredients which help improve the metabolism of subcutaneous fat, enhance blood and lymphatic circulation. Applied in cosmetology and aesthetics medicine practice has been reviewed. Furthermore, we provide an array of opinions regarding the effectiveness of treatment modalities present here. Absolutely. So I want you to think about this. So what they talked about is if they start to see some hormone balance, increase microcirculation, increase lymphatic. So therefore, things that move the lymphs around, because it's going to create a circulation that is going to have an effect on the skin. So once again, there's an inflammatory, there's an immune factor, there's a hormonal factor, there's a circulation factor, and therefore we need to know that there's a collagen and elastin changes, and so we need to not only build those things up, we need to actually stimulate those in those areas and even have a direct effect. And that's why if you notice, once again, when there's a high level of surge in hormones, you're going to notice that there's going to be changes in subcutaneous fat, but also circulation. So what can we do? Well, there's things out there that we can do that have an effect on these things that can actually change that microcirculation. Now, it's kind of funny, but there's something that I'm going to teach you that has been very well researched on not only changing microcirculation, but also venous insufficiency. But also, the reason why it's not looked at a lot when it comes to cellulite is because it's really known for cognitive things. For example, this thing I'm going to teach you, here's what happens. It's known for its cognitive enhancement properties due to the fact that it activates a class of proteins called MAPKs, which cause the release of a growth factor in neurons called the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, so the BDNF. Now, once again, so therefore, this is what this herb is actually known for. But I would tell you right now, that's probably third on the list on its very effectiveness based on the phytochemistry, because really what it does, it's really good in microcirculation, chronic venous insufficiency, and then you can see leg edema, wound healing, alertness. And so therefore, by changing these things, you're going to not only see a change of microcirculation that goes to your skin, but also a change in cellulite. So what is that product? You can see it right here. It's called Goda Cola. Okay, it's absolutely fantastic. Now, some of the properties that it does have within the phytochemistry is this. Gotu kola contains a chemical called triterpenic. Fractions of that's Gotu kola. TFCA is particularly beneficial for varicose veins since it stimulates the production of collagen and elastin. These connective tissues are needed to strengthen the internal lining and walls of your veins, okay? So therefore, there is a factor which you can do, and that's why it's also known to actually help with varicose veins. So even though Gotu kola gets so much popularity when it comes to cognitive, because there's great research to show how it does affect our neurology, but what they didn't realize, now they research, but it's not added in even most herbal clinical practices, is the fact that it does have a very good change on chronic, once again, venous insufficiency, microcirculations, cellulite, skin. You can put this directly on your skin. So I encourage patients to take it, internally, but also put it externally because the area of damage. Because sometimes using it internally, your body uses up in certain areas and never relates to your skin. So I've had women put it directly on their varicose veins. I've had women obviously take it internally, never just directly on there, and I create a little mixture that they can put on there, put in a wrap. It does a wonderful job. And what you're doing is you're changing that circulation, once again, if there has a factor when it comes to cellulite. Now, let's continue, because they know about this. Gotu kola in cosmetology. Once again, it's known as Gotu kola, and it's a medicinal plant that's been a folk medicine for hundreds of years, as well as a scientifically oriented medicine. The active component of this, once again, is a terpene, mainly the list all the acids, is effective in improving treatments of small wounds, hypertrophic wounds, as well as burns, psoriasis, scleroderma. The mechanism of action involves promoting fibroblast proliferation and increase the synthesis of collagen and intracellular fibronectin content, and also improvement of the tensile strength of newly formed skin, as well as inhibitory inflammatory phases of hypertrophic scars and keloids. Research results indicate that it can also be used in treatment of phytoaging, cellulite, and stri. Okay, so they've even seen it effective in cosmetology research of having an effect on cellulite if there's a micro circulation problem, if there's venous insufficiency, if there's actually collagen deficiency, if there's elastin deficiency. Gotu kola has a major effect on these things greatly, all right? Now, once again, I put more things in here, and we can go over it just quickly, is you can see in cosmetic use in cellulite and stri. Cellulite, known as liposclerosis, is a non-inflammatory change in the subcutaneous adipose tissue caused by increase in the volume of fat cells. So there you go. There could be estrogen problems that lead to fat cells or insulin resistance. So there's some of the major factors. Or by increased division of the connective tissue, which causes constriction of small blood vessels, resulting in disorder of metabolism of the subcutaneous adipose tissue, resulting in distended fat cells in the tissue, particularly in the hip, buttocks, abdomen, thighs, and arms. Cellulite is an ailment that affects many people, most frequently women, especially obese and leading stationary lifestyle, but may even encounter in children. Yes, it is happening in children because of all the things going on. So I tell people there's wonderful remedies that you can do. Once again, Gotu kola. You can actually take direct collagen in the form of a supplement, cruciferous vegetables for the hormonal aspect, 5 plates for lymphatic and circulation changes, massage. All these things have an effect on this. Okay, that's one thing I want people to understand. Now, is this 100% effective? Absolutely not. You say, and then once again, I want people to get hormone testing done. I want to make sure that they're doing the vascular things that actually circulate blood. I want them to exercise. I want to see them increase their muscle, which is going to help them with insulin resistance, which is also going to help them with keeping their blood sugars more stable by having a little bit more muscle. That'll actually create some elastin and connective tissue and also collagen strengthening that way. Maybe even take a collagen bone broth powder and put it in your coffee, which I have in right now. And once again, but you can also put on things topically if you do notice that. So say, doc, with liquid Gotu kola, yeah, I say, listen, take the herb, put it on the buttocks and stuff like that. Make sure you put on something on top of it so it doesn't stain anything. But the idea is this, you can put these things on topically to have this, but there is great backing to see that this stuff does work, okay? Now, once again, I was asked when it came to cellulite, is there more things? Yes. I can honestly tell you, when a woman wanted to try to get rid of her cellulite, I always start with hormone testing, make sure their inflammatory things are starting to come down, those immune factors, make sure all the circulatory things, get on vibe plates, get a massage, lymphatic things that can help. Once again, things that are circulation with exercise. There is a multiple things. So have we had cellulite go away massively in women? Of course. Did it fully go away for everybody? No. No, because there's factors that we're not going to change because there could be some permanent damage. But I'll tell you, the vast majority of people had wonderful changes and wonderful things, and actually pre and post pictures that they took, and saw the changes on their thighs and their buttocks and their stomach by doing these things, okay? And as you start to research these, you'll see that they're quite well documented on its effectiveness. And the reason why it can't affect everybody, because not everybody has the same factors that led to the cellulite in the first place. As I showed you before, there's multiple things that can be factorial to it that way that allow it to develop. And so therefore you need to address each person individually, which I totally agree on when they talk about research, because just by giving Gotu-Kola isn't the only reason why they're deficient in the first place. There's other factors that do contribute to that. All right, that being said, let's go over to our wonderful giveaways and see they have a little surprise today that they told me.
We do. We have an amazing surprise. You guys have been amazing interacting on all the chats. Thank you so much. We love getting to know you and we love all that interaction. But should we reveal the surprise?
I think it's time. All right, we've got a great, great crowd, and we know that some of you are a little shy to engage with us sometimes, so we want to encourage you. The first 20 people who have not previously won, who email us at
giveaways@thewellnessway.com with your full name, your handle and your screen name, and your address.
will receive a bottle of blood sugar glandular. So those first 20 people who've never won before, go ahead and email us. And we've got the timestamps, right? We've got the spreadsheet. Yep. We know who you are. So we are so excited to share the gifts and spread them all around.
Congratulations.
Wow, nice surprise. So what you're telling me, guys, the first 20 people that have never won, okay, so it's a non-winner, right?
Right.
Yeah, non-winner. The first 20 people that email them that have not won anything gets a free glandular because, once again, you know, as you guys are interacting, I know that there's thousands of people interacting all the time, so it's hard to actually catch everybody. So this is a wonderful way. If you have not won, but you've been interacting, one thing that they're going to do is to make sure that everybody's interacting on a regular basis. Please email them at giveaways@thewellnessway.com, and you're going to be a winner. So Travis, let's move into our last 10%. And remember, our last 10% for you guys that are on Facebook, for you guys that are on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, X, sorry, Twitter, same thing. And do me a favor, go over to the website only now because it's the only thing that will broadcast because we will shut down all the rest of them. So therefore, let's pop over to ADP and let's do our last 10%. For the unedited, full-length, unapologetic content, go to our website to watch ADP shows. Hit that subscribe button and join our community for the most amazing content like this every day.